A little better, eh? But not great.
Not the best.
Let's see what's going on here.
Oh, there you
Hello.
are. Hello.
You got to push the buttons and the dials.
And you got to turn it to the right spot.
Hey, so thanks for coming on the podcast today, guys. It's great to have you here.
Great to be here, Luke.
Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, thanks. Welcome every... What?
You're not Jody Mitic.
And
Wait a minute. Okay, you can start it. You son of a bitch. Jody Mitic Podcast. Hold fast. Coffee? Zajammins?
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Legit. Broing down. Jody Mitic Podcast. Some long range shooting. Sniper rifle. 18-inch. 308. Guns and bullets and that. Eventually, one day, it's coming up.
It's going to swell.
It's going to swell up. So we're good. We were going to go shooting today.
What's my escape plan?
The zombie apocalypse. There's wild turkeys around here. I'm on Team People. Not because I'm a communist. Okay, so anyway, I'm a history geek. I should know this. Anyway, just wow. And welcome to the Jody Mitic Podcast. Jody Mitic Podcast. Jody Mitic Podcast. With, of course, my lovely fiancée, Kelley. Last name irrelevant at this time until she gets mine. Athena, the warrior dog, and Luke, the Duke of podcasting, Rowan.
Why, thank you.
The dog didn't like that. You got some ears, girl. If anyone ever sneaks up on me when you're next to me, you are so fired.
She's hearing all the sounds.
Dude. So we were in Toronto for a couple days just visiting, and I took Kelley around to some of my old stomping grounds and stuff, and the dog is actually passing out. She can barely keep her eyes open right now, and I'm getting sleepy.
No reflection on the podcast whatsoever.
Anyway, so she's a little traumatized.
Yeah.
You want to know why?
Tell me.
So in West Virginia, now did we tell you what happened at the range with her, the poor little thing?
No.
Did we not tell them on the last podcast? Okay, so this is what happens. So we got her in Florida from our friends at Fortress Canine. And our friend Rich, who runs Full Spectrum Warrior, gave us all these great tips on how to introduce her to gunfire, to high-stress situations. And we followed none of the advice.
Yeah,
And we
good.
went to the range the Wednesday before we left for West Virginia. And we kind of just put her in the car and started shooting.
Right.
That's the wrong way to introduce her to gunfire.
Don't do that.
Don't do that, because
Okay.
what we did was I in my mind I was like, oh, the window's in the car and she's inside, it'll be a little less dramatic. But because it's like 4 feet of snow on the ground right now at the range, basically they have an area plowed like from the targets to where the snow is piled up again is about 20 meters.
Right.
Not a lot of space to maneuver. So the car, because I have my prosthetic feet, they let me bring my car. Ooh, I sound a little crisper. Not quite as tangy. So because of that, so like they let me bring my car right up because of my feet, right?
Yep.
Normally you should park your car on the outside, but because anyway, like they give me a little more leeway as long as there's not too many people around. And so I brought the car right up to the line, unloaded my ammo and unloaded my guns, and then I just threw the car in the back, and Kelley she started shooting and stuff. And when I went back to the car, I found Athena like up on the inside of the dash, basically.
Right.
Like, and she was in the back seat when we started shooting.
Yeah.
Found her in the front seat, passenger side, up under the dash. I thought she had gotten out of the car somehow. I was like, oh my God, she's gone. Kelley, where's the dog? Kelley's like, oh, she should be in the car. So we're looking all around. And finally, I see these two beady eyes like poking up at me from under the dash.
Hiding.
Not only is she shivering to death because, it was like minus 15. We didn't think a big deal, but hey, Florida dog. Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we had a fleecy blanket in there for her that she chose to ignore in her terror of the big loud bang bang bangs.
Of course.
Yeah. So that was bad. So then we go to West Virginia, and we'll just gloss over some of it to get to the part where the guy says to me, "Now, Jody, we're going to set off a simulated IED, improvised explosive device, IED. IED. Are you going to be okay with that, right? Because I stepped on an IED once.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, cool, no problem. I'm thinking like at the range, at the explosives range where we were heading.
Right.
And just as so Kelley throws Athena in the back of the Tahoe that we're in. She's in the back seat. I'm in the front seat. And then we have the driver and one of the other participants in the Weapon Hunter. It is now the Weapon Hunter experience, not the Panthera experience.
Oh, okay. Right on.
So if you guys want to do the weekend, it's the Weapon Hunter experience. Google it. There should be a website soon. Anyway, so as we're driving to the range and we're in a 3-vehicle convoy, that's the cool thing. While you're there, like they kind of try and like simulate a little bit of what it's like to be in like a tactical environment. So
Cool.
3-vehicle convoy. Anyway, he says, yeah, you should roll up your window, Jody, because you're going to get mud coming in. And I was like, oh, okay. And what I thought he meant was the path we were going on and the way we were driving, the car in front of us would throw mud at us that would come in the window.
Right,
This
yeah.
is what I envisioned. So I roll up my window just in time for about 60 feet of det cord to go off in the ditch next to us. Rock the vehicle, cover the whole side of the vehicle in mud, and we're like, woo, yeah! And then I look at Kelley, and Kelley looks at me, and she's like, oh shit, the dog! And finally we park, and the dog like refused to come forward.
Right.
And for the rest of the day, it was all explosions and gunfire.
Yeah.
So she had a bad day.
Yeah.
And what we should have done is had her like right next to us for the explosion.
Right.
Right. So we've had to like start correcting her on, like telling her no, it's not good to act like a scaredy cat because she just shakes and she just wants to run.
Yep.
So in Toronto, we're sitting at the Allen Road Expressway, Allen Road, I believe it's called, the north-south there, almost highway. And they're building the subway underneath it. And the cars beside us are going by over these like planks that they had laid over the road for while they're doing construction.
Right.
And they go, da-dunk, 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 da-dunk.
Yeah.
The concussion sort of kind of maybe sounded a little bit like distant gunfire.
A little bit, yeah.
And the dog lost her shit.
Yeah.
Kelley had to hold her. She was trying to jump out the window. She was trying to crawl up under the dash again. And so we're the worst dog parents ever, I think.
But I think by the end of the day, though, she was getting a little bit more justice. When we took her out and had her right beside us,
Yeah, this is the thing.
like her tail kind of came out a little bit towards the end of the day.
Yeah. So we went. So for the rest of the time in West Virginia, we like pulled her tail out from between her legs and like told her like no, and she was acting scared and stuff, and like she's just like trying to pet her and all the things we should have done, but like the dog should have been at like 100 meters when we were at 10.
Right. Okay.
So she could hear it for the first time.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but anyway, she'll get over it. She's young.
Oh yeah.
She's the young are strong.
Right.
Right. It'll be later on when she's older, like our age, when she starts getting all shell shocked and like memories of the war and stuff will start.
Right.
You ever seen those GIFs or those memes where they show like a dog or like Kermit the Frog and then they show like Vietnam clips in the background?
No.
It's pretty funny.
All right.
Anyway.
We'll just have to have gunfire in the background at home on the TV now
Yeah,
and
we'll
then,
just watch Platoon and
just
like
to condition her a bit to the
and
sounds.
like Hamburger Hill like over and over.
That's
and over.
right.
Yeah, and the calmer she sees us and hearing that sound in a more natural setting, I think she'll.
Yeah, and we just got to tell her no to being scared.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so we had a great weekend. Kelley got to shoot fully automatic for the first time.
Right on.
It was pretty awesome.
9mm MP5, 5.56 AR, and an AK-47.
Rock
and
on.
I haven't shot an MP5 ever.
Okay.
Wait. No, I'm pretty sure I've never fired an MP5. It's a gun.
Right.
It's
Okay.
like a gun that shoots a pistol round.
Yep.
Yeah. No recoil, really, because it's so big. And
And we got to drive some fun tracks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
do J turns.
yeah,
And
Kelley was third fastest in the auto rally little course that we set up.
Right.
Jody was first.
I was the fastest with my fake legs.
Mario Andretti over here.
Hey, when you got it, you got it. Whether
Right.
it's fake legs or not.
There you go.
Yeah. And what else? What else did we do? We practiced J turns, practiced a little convoy, like a hostile escape. So by putting a car into pit.
Right.
And then we did some shooting and some education on improvised explosive devices.
Yeah.
But it was just an experience,
Right.
right? This is not by any stretch of the imagination training.
Right. Okay.
It's
yeah.
more like familiarization.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So, and it's a great facility. Anybody in the special ops, tactical world, like TAC teams for police, or my friends at the Canadian Forces Special Operations, if you would need a place to go that is self-contained, has its own kitchen, it has dormitories, but they're like townhouses in the city that's nearby.
Right.
Not much of a city, it's more of a town.
It would, a town.
Yeah, but it's from like 1870 and stuff. And West Virginia rules, man.
Yeah?
Like it was winter there and they were all in jackets and I was in a t-shirt.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome. And they're all like, "Oh, what did the one guy say? I want Jody to admit it's cold," or something like that. And he's this like Marine lieutenant colonel that retired a couple years ago. I actually met him at SHOT Show in 2017.
Okay. Right.
And I'm
on.
looking at him and I'm like, I know this guy. I recognize him. And he's looking at me the same way. And then finally we put together that we know all the same people.
Right.
And we met anyway. He's like, so yeah, at some point he's just like, "I just want Jody to admit he's cold."
Right.
And I'm like,
Say it.
no, and
Say
I'm
it.
like, well, I'm a little cold. I'm in a t-shirt, but I have a toque on. He's
Right.
like, "What's a toque?"
Sorry, my ski hat.
Yeah, my knitted cap.
Right.
And yeah, man, it was really awesome. So Kelley learned from this good old boy Johnny, who was a retired Marine advanced sniper, 29. And he has
Okay.
all kinds of. That's the difference between Canada and the U.S. there. Yeah. Anyway.
What do you mean? Explain that.
Well, by the time I was 29, I was just leading troops into combat.
Right.
And by the time, but I mean, if I had joined the army in the early thousands, it would have been a different world.
Right.
But I joined mid 90s, right? So it was a different world. It was a peacekeeping army, and we had no funding. The decade of darkness, the government just loved the word peacekeeping.
Okay.
The liberal government at the time.
Yeah.
Because peacekeeping sounds like no combat, when actually to get the peace, it's all combat.
You make the peace.
Yeah. Well, the Mulroney government, I'm trying to remember who was in charge when we first went to Bosnia. I believe it was the Mulroney government, the last progressive conservative government in this country. And they denied anybody who got shot. Like, guys got their pensions and stuff through Veterans Affairs, but like back home, it was a total media blackout.
Right,
Guys were getting
okay.
sniped and like hit by RPGs and machine gun, and it was just all
serious
It was all
business.
covered up. Yeah, it was the Medak Pocket, which was like a major combat situation that our guys were forced into, was just completely buried to
Right.
avoid like political stuff. But that part might have happened under Chrétien. Anyway, the point is, he joined post 9/11 Marines.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was all hands on deck.
Well, the post 9/11 Canadian Forces was actually a lot different too. Like
Right.
suddenly we had money, we had equipment, we had training. Yeah, I don't know, it was just different. But anyway, so he's a good guy. So like, I wanted Kelley to learn from someone, anyone but me, and it paid off. Right? You had a good time.
I had a great time.
Like, from the female new shooter perspective, what would you say was the best part? What'd you come away with?
I think just being able to try like sampling different ones and getting a feel for what the difference is in them. But I think that he was a really calm guy, so you didn't feel intimidated.
Right.
Although I was a little intimidated by my lack of strength in my arms, but
Yeah, but baby, you gotta stop putting yourself down. You held an AK-47 while it fired full automatic.
it was pretty awesome actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
No
pretty
doubt.
awesome.
Yeah, and you had awesome trigger control. You were putting off like 2-round bursts. That's
Yeah.
that's actually kind of hard.
No, it was. I actually really, really loved it.
If you watch the video on the Fire Team Alpha official Instagram page, the instructor had to like put his hand on her back.
I saw
you
that.
did see
Yeah.
that?
I did.
It was
see
funny.
that.
I felt like someone in one of those superhero movies, when someone's pushing like the force against you. 'Cause
Right. Yeah.
I could feel both my feet sliding backwards in the gravel. But no, it's interesting because it clicked that thing in my mind where I wanted more time because I wanted to perfect the technique. So I
Right.
wish the only thing that I would change is I wish I had more time to just have that like one-on-one, a little bit more time to
Just
master it a bit, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's what shooting is, right? It's like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? 10,000 hours.
Right.
So how do you become a good shot? 10,000 rounds, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And for Kelley, what I would say, what I was hoping you would say actually is confidence.
Right.
Confidence in herself, and with a firearm in her hand, went way up. Like she was flicking the selector switch with her thumb. She was staying in position. She was like very confident in her stance until she almost got knocked over. Then she adjusted, pulled the trigger again, adjusted. You know, like she's starting. It's starting to become natural for her to be in a shooting stance. Whereas before, like when I first started teaching her last summer, it was okay. Start with your feet. Cool. But you know what? We all do it. Like if you watch the video of me shooting the AK, I didn't expect the kick because I haven't shot one since 2006, and
Right.
I don't even. To be honest, it might have been 2003 when I shot one because I don't remember shooting one before I went in 2006. But I remember in 2000. Anyway, it's a 7.62 round. So it's a heavy round, and the mechanism in the AK is big and bulky and heavy, which is why it's so reliable, because it's not a lot of moving parts, and the parts that are moving are big and bulky, and just the
Right.
force of the momentum of the round and everything just slams them back and forth in there. That's why you could like bury it in mud and freeze it, smash the muddy ice off it, pull the
Yeah.
trigger, and then it's probably gonna go.
Right.
Right. Like to jam an AK, you got to try. Which is why, you know, warlords and child soldiers around the world love it.
Right. Yeah.
But even I got knocked back on my peg legs.
Yeah.
You know, I had to really lean into it. Like I was almost bent all the way half over. But what a great weekend we had at the Panthera Training Center. And we're going to be working with them again. Fire Team Alpha is working on a deal where once we have our coaching program and things set up, the graduation ceremony for those that can afford it will be there.
Right. Cool.
Because there's just things we can do there that we can't do here.
Right.
And we'd have to go to like 6 different schools or facilities to get what they have there in one.
Oh,
You know,
okay,
like
that's awesome.
here we could do the driving, but that'd be just driving.
Right.
And then we could go to another place and do shooting, and then
Yeah.
go to another place and do tactical movement, and then go to like it's like right now we're moving in next to the Stittsville Range here in Ottawa. If you don't know where it is, Google it. It's Stittsville Ranges and shooting ranges. Sorry, on the Google Maps, and it's one of the better facilities for like tactically minded shooters.
Right.
You know, you're not going to go in there and start doing pairs, fire, and movement like we talked about on the last show. But Kelley and I are working on like establishing a headquarters right near it, literally right beside it. And if that works out, now this is all maybes right now, like because we're in like a transition phase, and a whole lot of things are coming our way. But at the same time, any of them could be blown away by the slightest like breeze.
Right.
You know how business goes, right?
Yeah, yeah, of
And
course.
it's nothing personal, but sometimes like a better offer comes in, or just timing doesn't line up, or
Yep.
just personalities don't get along. And it's not because you don't like each other, but it's like your vision and their vision is different.
Right.
And you can't let that become personal, like, or it just, you know, it ruins the relationship.
Yeah.
And Kelley and I are all about having good relationships. But don't get me wrong, if someone's a D-bag, we'll just eliminate them out of the Rolodex.
Yeah.
And whether or not they're only a D-bag with us, that's fine.
Right.
You know, like we said the last couple of shows, like, part of my recovery and part of our resetting of our minds, and you know, like Kelley's recovery and stuff, and our relationship and the way we're trying to build our lives is it's about, you know, that saying, you know, the saying, right? Surround yourself with the people that make you better.
Yeah.
That's why I like hanging out with you so much, right? Because I think you make me better. That's why you didn't hang out with me for a while, because I probably wasn't someone worth hanging out with. And it's not, and I say worth, but it's, and I know it's not, the worth isn't the word, but it's, you know, there are friends sometimes when if you can help them, you help them, but at the same time, you can't be around for the downward part.
Right.
Right. And so, you know, like, that's what we're working on. Like, Kelley's a great people person. I'm a pretty good people person, but not the way she is. And she's also business minded. You know, like when we're probably still going to open a gym, but it'll be of a much smaller scale.
Right.
More for like members only, or just like if you happen to be where we are and you want to work out, throw $5 in the jar and you can go bench press and like just while you kill time. I don't know. We're trying to figure it out because gyms, it's tough to make money in a gym, as you know, right? You manage 2 gyms, right? Good Life and then Greco.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's tough. Like it's tough to make money. Because once you get that membership fee, then you got to keep them coming back, right? I guess. I don't know. Like, it's just, but you always have expenses, broken equipment. You got to clean everything like crazy because it's covered in sweat and grime and staph infection everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you don't keep them coming through the door, like the money starts to dry up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So our gym will be more like, it'll be enough to be useful and quality, but it's more of a afterthought now.
Right.
We'll still build the community that we're trying to build, but the gym will be for those that are part of the community.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, for sure.
So I don't need 16 bench presses.
Yeah.
I need maybe 2.
Right.
Maybe, and then if I just need 3, I'll go get 3. And if Kelley, she wants to get into the yoga pretty heavy.
Right.
So if she needs like 15 more yoga mats, then we'll just go buy them or something. Or
And some heavy bags.
Yeah, Kelley really wants heavy bags.
Okay.
On those rails in the ceiling.
Yeah.
You can just slide
Like, she wants
them out
to,
when you want to kick the crap out of something.
She wants to punch it
There
and
you
watch
go.
it go across the room.
Nice.
Yeah. She's really looking to fix that upper body strength.
There you go.
But yeah, man, like where was I going with the range stuff? Anyway, so the Panthera Training Center has everything in one spot.
Yeah, that's great.
Like you could even contract them to like provide you meals if you wanted.
Right. Okay.
They have a small kitchen and stuff like that, and then they showed us their schedule and they're booked solid.
Right.
All the spec ops people go there. All the 3-letter agencies.
Right. They're all
that
in.
you're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah.
Like they just it's a place where you can go and really customize your training.
Right.
To exactly what you want, and they accommodate you versus where a lot of places you show up and you got to do what they do.
Right. This is what we're doing.
Yeah. Right. Whereas they look at it as, okay, well, what's our customer really need? And let's customize or let's be flexible to their needs.
Right.
And it's, I don't know. I've never experienced something like it. So it's pretty cool. So, and we got a really good relationship with them now. And Paul Schull, again, he's on social media, but he kind of comes and goes. Like he's on and then he's off. But
Right.
it's Paul and then SHULL, Weapon Hunter.
Right.
So you can find him there, and he's trying to build. Like he's going again in April.
Yep.
We may or may. Well, I don't think we're going to go in April.
I don't know if we're
pretty
going to have
busy.
time.
But yeah, man, like it was a great weekend, and then in Toronto, we met some people that are going to be very important to the show for the rest of the year that we'll talk about later.
Yes. Excellent.
And as Kelley pointed out, it's February 28th, and I'm sober.
There you
Yep.
go.
Yeah.
Success.
I'm
very, very proud of
Athena,
you.
the dog,
Yeah.
is still a good dog. She's not allowed in the bed anymore.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
She's getting big.
Yeah.
She's getting bigger. Like
I
she's
see
gotten.
that.
I mean, I feel like she's doubled in size since we got her. I know it's not quite that dramatic, but she's already thickening out. And I expected a few more months of growth up before she started to go out.
Right.
But I don't think they were feeding her that well.
Okay.
Or
Or
she
it's just her
wasn't-
time.
She's just growing on our love.
Yeah.
maybe. But it's just like they weren't like for. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it because
Right.
we are definitely feeding her better quality food.
Right.
But she barely eats. But actually, she's got an appetite now, eh? Maybe she just wasn't growing for a week or two there.
Yeah, she's a lot taller. Like,
Yeah.
she's longer than she was for sure.
Definitely. But she still squeezes in. So for most of the drive home, we had brought this guy back who's from Toronto, which is why we ended up in Toronto for their Snowmageddon yesterday.
Yeah.
So he's like bigger than me.
Right.
So he's 6'4", I think.
6'5".
He's 6'5", and he's about 270 pounds.
Oh,
if
shoot.
If he's a dime.
Yeah.
And he's in the back seat, and Athena was having none of it. She's like, "This is my back seat," and so because we're like, "Well, he's not leaving." She's like, "All right." So she climbed in the front, went down at Kelley's feet, and like curled up into a tiny little ball on the floor there, and just looked up at us like, what now? Your move, humans.
Yeah.
And Kelley just stuck her feet under her to warm up her feet.
Perfect.
And she went to sleep there for the whole drive.
Dog slippers.
Yeah. So
And
I
then
mean,
she got super comfy with a portable little pillow. So
Yeah.
I've got pictures of her where she's got her head like she's loving life down there.
yeah.
There's nothing.
If you guys want to like check it out, it's Athena Warrior Dog. No, Athena Warrior the dog on Instagram, and you can follow her there and see her attitude and you know what she does? She comments on Joe Rogan's Golden Labs page a lot. She's like, hey man, let's make some puppies and shit.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, Athena, you're not even a year old.
Right.
Settle down.
Yeah.
A,
Yeah.
And B, I don't want no golden retriever, German Shepherd, Malinois puppies.
Right.
If you're having puppies, it's a Malinois or a Shepherd.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's a bit racist though, eh? What is it when is that breedist?
I think it'd be breedist.
I'm a bit of a breedist.
Would be
yeah,
more
I don't
appropriate.
want mutt puppies.
Yeah.
I want some dogs I can sell.
Right.
But a dog like her and a golden retriever actually might be some nice little doggies.
You know what it would do? It'd be like the supersonic spy dog because people would think that they're going to get this cute golden and then she would just eat their face off.
Yeah, like
So she'd be perfect
Right.
for bad
strangers.
guys.
The strangers would see this golden retriever with like a slightly darker color in the
Like,
backyard.
I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, look at that fella! I can go pet him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they just find him like hog-tied in the doghouse and be getting chewed on.
Of
Maybe.
course,
I
of
don't know. The
course.
reason she's a pet is because she likes cuddles more than she likes ripping faces off.
Yeah.
But she
That's
has
cool too.
She has a switch, as
Yeah.
we said at the laundromat last night. Ooh, scared this guy. So this guy walks in. You know those people? They show up and they just start talking to you.
Yeah.
like they know you. Of
course.
And they start asking questions like why are you asking me that question?
Yeah.
I don't even know you. And so,
they just keep approaching. Like
Yeah.
they come closer and closer and like stand in your space. And
Yeah.
when Jode went outside, he came like close and he was just kind of like talking. And Athena was like, "You are not going to be near my human."
No.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had to go out to get some out of the trunk. I come back in, and the dog is between Kelley and this guy, and she's just like, and he's like, "Oh, what's the matter? What's the matter with her? I wish I had a dog. I have a Dutch hound." I'm like, "That's called a dog."
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Okay, well, what's her problem?" Like, "Well, she's wearing her vest, and you're antagonizing her. Why don't you just like walk away for a bit? Like, go to some other part of the laundromat."
Yeah.
Because she had her service dog.
Go
vest
get your
on.
pee-pee stains out of your undies somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like the whole laundromat has two other people in it, maybe.
Yeah.
And he has to come stand right next to, like, we're in the far corner,
Away
by
from
ourselves,
everybody else.
away from everybody else on purpose. And you got to come to our corner. So then he goes all the way around the laundromat to the owner's side, and the owners are cool. Like, we've been there a dozen times already. Like, it's
Right.
we like it because we can do all our laundry in one load.
Yeah.
And
You know,
paperwork at the tables at
And
the
then
same
we
time.
sit there and we do our taxes or our paperwork. And my mom came by last night to hang out and have a coffee. But anyway, so he goes back like 16 rows of washers and dryers. So you can imagine the space.
Yeah.
And he goes and I'm at the front door because the machine we use these two big machines that are right at the front door. They're like $9 a load, but you can put everything and then
shoot.
add a few things and like, oh, what's
Yeah.
that? Is that a dirty tire on the street? Okay, throw that in
I
there.
also want that cleaned
Yeah,
up.
I want that sparkling. Anyway, and he's like, I'm got my back to him, but he's like, yeah, I gotta go, like really loud, eh? I gotta go because that dog is really aggressive. And the owner, she's like this little Chinese lady, like she's like, okay,
Not buying it.
okay. Well, I see you when you come back, okay? Okay.
But he did not have any laundry with him. And when he came back again the second time,
Didn't
he
he
did.
have like a little bag of laundry?
No, the second time he came back, he came in and talked and then left again.
I thought he had a little bag.
I didn't
Anyway,
see- maybe, but-
and then he's. Did he ask me about the car in the second trip?
The car was the second trip.
Oh yeah. So then he's like, yeah. So I'm gonna come back later, and the lady's like, okay, like why are you still here? Like we heard you, and he's like, and he says it again, like I have to go. That dog is mean.
Right.
Type. I didn't hear it all, but I just kept my back to him, and I was waiting for him to say like, what he wanted was the owner to say, get that dog out of here, but the owner's like, okay, you can go.
Yeah.
So then anyway, Kelley and we're like just folding. We're finishing with the dryer stuff, and he comes back, and he walks in, and he like walks over, and he's like, I'm back. I made it back, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you left. And he's like, how did you get that thing on the front of your car? and it's the crash bar.
Yeah.
I'm like, Amazon. And he's like, oh, really? Was it expensive? I'm like, it was on Amazon.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, and then what did he say?
He's like, I have a Jeep. I should get one.
Oh, I could put one on the front of my Jeep. I'm like, you can do whatever you want, man.
Sure, dude.
And I had the Athena tied around my waist at this point because she was getting like antsy.
Yeah.
So her leash has a ring on it, so you can put it around your waist. And I just kept her there, and I kept her between me and him, and I ignored him. And then the owner is right next to us because she was wiping down the machines, and he's like, "Hey, I made it back." And that was when I said, "I didn't even notice you left." She looks at me, she's like, "Oh, you made it." She starts laughing she's like talking to him but looking at me, and she's like, "Oh, you made it back, did you?"
Right.
Good for you.
He's just trying to find a best friend at the laundromat.
She's probably thinking, why can't I get a dog like that?
She's like, I'm getting a dog like that, you know. Anyway, it was just.
But people have to be aware, like, she's got her service vest on, so you shouldn't approach anyways. But when Jode went outside, her body language changed when the man started coming close to me because I was a little weirded out. She was sensing that kind of feeling, I guess.
Yeah,
for sure.
But like, if someone's got a dog that looks like her and is a service dog, and she's getting agitated because he's coming too close to my personal space.
She was like 100% barking, not just like. She started like barking, like loud, like stay away from me, get away from Kelley.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh, should I pet her? But it was just like, hey man, like the dog. I'm like, the dog's told you 3 times, and you're continuing to agitate her.
Yeah,
so why don't you just go away?
Yeah,
or whatever
time.
I said. Like I tried not to be a dick about it, but I was like, do me a favor, just stop agitating her because she's got her vest on, so she thinks she's at work.
Yeah.
And he's like, but I thought she was in training. I'm like, yeah, well, so am I. You know, like, and it's just, I want to do my laundry. I'm not here to chit chat. B, I have all this paperwork out in front of me. So does my wife, or my future wife, or whatever. And the dog hates you.
Yep.
So why don't you just fucking get away from us?
Yeah.
Just gonna throw it out there.
Beat it.
Just beat it. So he beat it, and then he came back and he tried again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey man, I got enough friends. Sorry, dog. And I definitely don't need a fucking creepy weirdo.
Yeah.
And he was a big dude too.
Mm-hmm. No,
so anyway, the dogs can sense. Anyone that Athena doesn't like, we just keep a little wide berth.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so she's already earned her kibble.
There you go.
That's exactly what I'm feeding her to do is protect Kelley.
Yeah.
And me and the kids. Mostly Kelley and the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I'm not around. Mm-hmm. And it's good to see that reaction though, because she's a super sweetie pie.
Yeah.
Unless she shouldn't be.
Right. Yep. Cool.
And we're learning too. We're Canine Academy Online is our guy Joel, who him and his ex-wife are the breeders of the dogs, and he's the trainer. But they're in Florida.
Right.
But he has an online course that we're doing. We're going to start it in April, I think, when we get back from California. So she'll go into full service dog training then. Right now, we're learning more than she is, really. She's probably better at it than we are. We put the vest on, and she doesn't eat or drink. And like no one can touch her except us.
Right.
And or my dad. She walked right up to my dad.
We're all business in the vest.
Well, she is. But with my dad, she was like, oh, I recognize you. You're the guy they talk about so much. Hey, Valley. Hey, how's it going? And it's like she could tell that because my dad's always like, what the fuck you want a dog for? Brr, 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 brr. He had a dog as a kid that my grandma told me he loved so much that when it passed, he couldn't help but have it. He couldn't have another dog because he didn't want to get his heart broken like that.
Right.
Is how grandma put it.
Yep.
But after he met her, he's like looking at her and he's like, and we're sitting at the table eating breakfast, and he pulls out like a digital camera. Fuck, you're on a digital camera. My dad.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a camera.
Oh.
I'm like, well, what about your phone? He's like, it's not a camera. It has a camera.
Sure.
But this is a camera.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you argue with that?
Nope.
You can't argue.
Nope.
So he pulls it out and he like zooms in on her under the table, and he like thinks he's being all sneaky about it. But Kelley and I are just grinning at each other, and he's like, yeah, we're talking about you.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm sure she recognizes the voice because we're always doing FaceTime or
maybe
FaceTime audio with your dad in the car.
I just know like she was very comfortable around Dad, even though they just met. She still hasn't met a cat though. The other day when you were still sleeping by the way, I don't know if you just know this. I might be talking to someone who knows.
Okay.
Airbnb,
right?
The best.
Oh yeah.
Oh, by the way, Airbnb, send me my money.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why because I'm about accessibility, right? So hotels have what I need.
Yep.
So for this trip, because my legs are doing so well, and I got the new prosthetics and put my old feet on that I've been wanting for a while, we were like, well, let's try going without the wheelchair.
Yep.
Because it's the West Virginia trip. There was no wheelchair accessibility to be found. Like, this town is not up to code.
Right.
But it was funny, in the training center at one of they have these like portable classroom buildings, you know, those built out of like portables.
Right. Yeah.
It's a permanent structure, but it's like, what do you call it? Modular, right?
Yep.
So I go into the bathroom and they have a wheelchair accessible stall.
Right.
You know, the big double size. Yeah.
Yep.
So then I go up to the guy who manages the place for the owner, and I'm like, hey man, it's pretty cool. You have a wheelchair accessible stall. He's like, oh, of course we do. And I'm like, there's no wheelchair ramps or anything around here. He's like, what? I'm like, well, you have the stall. I get it. It probably came that way because it's a modular system.
Right.
But you don't have any wheelchair ramps anywhere. So nobody in a wheelchair could ever get in this building anyway. And he's like, I never even fucking thought of that. And I'm like, I'm just saying, bro, if you were wanting to cater to that community, which a lot of them like shooting guns, you got to go ahead and get a couple wheelchair ramps put in around here.
For
And
sure.
he's like, I'm glad we had you come down, dude. I'm like, give me my money.
Yeah. I'll invoice you for that.
So anyway, for the trip, we decided to go sans wheelchair.
Yeah.
And we did all right.
Yeah.
I had like a 4-liter wide mouth water bottle
Right.
that I peed in at night.
Perfect.
And I've been taking a lot of vitamin C.
Right.
So I'm peeing a lot.
Yeah.
We're trying to flush our systems of anything.
Right.
We actually found out for Kel that if they had done, one of the guys that was there actually was a radiologist, a doctor of radiology.
Yeah.
Right.
But he knows, like, he works in an emergency room and stuff, so he knows a lot about like trauma. And sepsis is basically a traumatic injury. Like, I think when you break it down, because you come into the hospital bleeding or dying,
Right.
And so he was like amazed. Kelly still had all her fingers and toes.
Yeah, he actually got tears in his eyes when I said that I had.
Yeah, he was like,
But was still recovering from the sepsis, and he's like, "Oh, it's like, oh, I'm really, really glad you're here."
Right. Yeah.
yeah, well, like we assume because she survived, like, she survived something they thought was worse than it is.
Right.
No, she survived something that was worse than they thought it was.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
it was even
Yeah.
worse than they thought it. And they said she's gonna die.
Right.
Like, they told Sam, like, they were like, she's gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
And Sam said, you don't know my mom, but Kelly was dying.
Right.
The fact that she still has all her fingers and toes is a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
Her nose, her ears, like
Yeah.
anything that's has low circulation is where this stuff attacks.
Right.
So she's had circulation issues in her feet. Like, when we were at the range and it was cold, her feet froze, and we were only outside for an hour.
Right.
And I bought her some nice warm shoes or boots. I bought her some wool socks. Anyway, so this guy told us about this new protocol called Vitamin C Push.
He's
something
going to
like
get some
that?
information sent it. It's a UK based thing,
Yeah.
but it basically, it's like a high intense infusion, and it flushes the system.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much about it until I know, but we will bring more information on it. But he said that it's a game changer in the survival rate for people, and game changer in the sepsis kills more people than breast cancer per year.
Right. Okay.
And I'll have to look up the stats, but the amount of amputations is huge. It's staggering.
Massive.
It's massive. So with this new push, it's helping to prevent death and loss of limbs as well. So
Right. Wow.
But you can also use it to push toxins out of your system. Like if you need to piss test, I've heard apparently if you take a lot of vitamin C, it'll help flush your system.
Right. Okay.
So it's the same thing. So I'm trying to, like, any remnants of anything in me, I'm trying to flush
Get
out.
them out.
Pardon me. And any, like, remnants of the poison, which could probably most likely still be in Kelly's system. Oh, we also found out Kelly's had sepsis 2 times previously.
Right.
which back in the day they
Which
thought
back in
was
the day they just called
blood poisoning after I had my kids.
Right. Okay. Yep.
So basically, it's a miracle. She's a miracle walking.
Yeah.
So we want to get the maximum amount of nutrition, push through her system, get like the circulation back in her fingers and toes. But if that doesn't work, we just might have to move to like Arizona,
Right.
where it's always warm.
Yeah. Warm and dry.
And I've slipped twice in the last 2 weeks on the ice here.
Oh, it's so
And,
bad right now.
Like, remember my shoulder was sore is from slipping on the ice.
Yeah.
And I slipped and fell on my right arm is my shooting arm.
Yeah.
And I like cut my fingers open on the ice, and like I was in the middle of the street in Toronto, and it was just like I was like, fuck winter.
Yeah.
I used to love winter.
Right.
But I'm like, it's hard for me to get around. I'm always slipping. I'm always falling, and I'm like, and it's just harder.
Yeah.
It's just harder, and it's harder to live a life with prosthetic legs to begin with.
Yeah.
So like this trip to a place that, Virginia gets snow, West Virginia gets snow, but like it doesn't stick around for more than a day or two, and it's maybe 6 inches tops.
Right.
Tops ever.
Very tolerable.
Like when we got there, the ground was covered in probably an inch or two of snow.
Yeah, not too bad.
And by the time we left on Sunday, it was gone.
Right.
And they were like complaining. They're like, "Oh my God, all this snow." And we're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
Now the winds, on the other hand.
It was pretty windy. It gets windy here. Mm-hmm. But it got a little windy. But that was part of the whole like weather system.
Right.
It's part of global warming or cooling or whichever side you're on.
Yeah.
Like,
It's both. Yeah.
here's let's hang on. Like the Earth warms and cools.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
It takes 1,000,000 years for one and 10,000 for the other. Like it doesn't. There's no pattern.
Right.
You were like, oh, this is the coldest winter on record. Oh, of the 150 years we've been keeping records on this 67 billion-year-old planet.
Right.
Yeah, let's go ahead and call that a fucking pattern.
Yeah.
You fucking idiots. Like, no, the Earth was completely frozen for a while.
Yeah, that's a little wild, right?
Oh, speaking, what's that show with Will Smith on Netflix? It's a Nat Geo special. It's a series. I believe it's called The Strange Little Rock.
Yes.
Or The Strangest Rock. A Strange Little Rock or something.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. Google it. Look it up. It's with Will Smith. Mm-hmm. And it explains some of the coolest shit about the planet. Ooh. Like, I saw this before, but like it talks about how windstorms in Africa, where the salt plains are, where like it used to be an ocean, right? They have big windstorms there. And these windstorms carry the salt and minerals from the ground over the Atlantic and into the Amazon. And this is what made the Amazon so rich is the fertilizer from Africa, from the African Arabian deserts.
That's so
flying
cool.
across the ocean on the winds and being deposited in rain and just like silt in the Amazon. What?
Yeah. I love that stuff.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like, it's the craziest. Like, and then there's like water currents that literally start in the Antarctic.
Yeah.
Or the Arctic. Was it on this show or did I see it on another one?
I think you started on
Basically, it's the algae blooms that then feed the little animals that eat it.
Yeah.
That then have a huge population boom while this is happening. They like double in population every day. And then whales and krill and everything like has a big feeding frenzy. And they all have lots of babies. And this is like during when the Amazon silt river runs into any. I can't remember. You got to watch it. And then they die when all the food dries up.
Yep.
And then they go down to the bottom and they make that super fine sand.
Okay.
And they become the salt and minerals that we now enjoy in our food.
That's so cool. I love that stuff. I love finding out like all the steps. Yeah.
But bro, it's just like what it's showing is how connected the whole planet is to itself.
Yeah, of course.
Like you might live in Brazil and I might live in Ottawa, Canada, but the air you're breathing affects the air I'm breathing and vice versa. And like,
yeah.
And you know what this show actually admitted to is the planet is way more robust than scientists gave it credit for.
Right. Okay.
You know, like yeah, we're having more carbon in the air. That's A. And then B, also humans are way more adaptable than we give ourselves credit for.
Right.
Right. Like there's people that can live, where was that? The base camp for, what's the big mountain everyone climbs? Mount Everest.
Everest.
The base camp there is basically like a sea container city.
Right.
Like it's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
If I'm remembering right, it was humongous considering it's a mountain nobody should climb.
Yeah.
Right. And there's people that can live there.
Right.
And then they went to another place in the mountains in South America where they went to this graveyard and it was all babies.
Right.
And it was like when the Spanish settlers showed up here, all their babies died, and the really old people that made it died because the air is so thin. But there's people that can live there.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And just like we can live like there's people that live like underground almost without daylight. And it's like you're supposed to die without daylight. Right.
Right.
The human species is the dominant animal on the planet in all areas, cold, hot, wet, dry, because we're the most adaptable of any species on the planet.
Very cool.
And so, like, people always talk about the extinction of the human race. No, that's not going to happen. I mean, like my version of the human race, like the Nordic, the big, the strong, the blue-eyed, the brown-haired, whatever, that might die off because maybe my version of human isn't adaptable enough to the future world.
Right.
But there will always be humans.
Yeah.
And people always, the extinction of the human race, extinction of the human race. What they really mean is, I don't want to die.
Right.
So settle down. You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Everything that's a problem that's coming, which would have happened naturally anyway, regardless of how many Tauruses, what's Priuses?
Oh.
No matter how many Priuses or Teslas we sell,
Yeah.
the planet's changing no matter what.
That's right.
That's what drives me nuts. They go, well, the glaciers have melted. Yeah, aren't they made of ice? Doesn't ice melt? Isn't that what its job is?
Right.
Like, I don't know what the problem is here.
So now it's water.
Well, it's like they're like, well, it's melting really fast. Well, like ice melts in the sun. I don't know what you want from me right now. Like, I don't know. Am I supposed to get excited or scared or
Right?
Or what do you? Oh, that's what causes the algae blooms when the water from the glaciers breaks off and falls into the ocean.
Yeah.
It brings with it millions of years of sediment.
Right. Okay.
Which is all full of fertilizer for the algae, which then blooms and then just gets eaten by all these little things that whales eat and shit. But the point is, like, glaciers melting. Remember that thing called the Ice Age they say we came out of?
Right.
That was glaciers melting.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as pretty, I guess.
Sure.
A lot of water goes into the ocean.
Yeah.
But the water's still there.
Yeah.
We just got to find it.
There we go.
I'm just saying. Look, I'm not trying to poo-poo global warming. I believe 100% in global warming.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's something we can fight.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like they've already, like every time I watch the news, they're like, oh, well, they say we're warming up twice as fast as they thought we would.
Adapt.
But aren't we lowering our carbon footprint all the time? So how's that happening?
Right.
Weird.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's like our minister of climate change or whatever. You're not ministering anything, ma'am. It's gonna happen with or without us. Like, I don't know. I don't see how what we're like. Okay, but the only thing we must all agree on is that trees make oxygen.
Yep.
Yeah.
I co-signed to that.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, part of this series with Will Smith is showing how actually a shit ton of the air we breathe is actually made in the ocean.
Yeah.
By these plankton things, or no, by the algae. Plankton is what eats the algae.
That's right.
Science.
You are science today.
He's
Holy
loving the
jeez.
documentaries.
No kidding. Just
I like
gobbling up
documentaries.
all the knowledge.
Well, I'm done with sad documentaries.
Yeah, good idea.
For a while there, it was all like, these people are in jail and they shouldn't be. These people were massacred. These people were sexually abused. These people were inbred. These people were science experiments. It's like, holy shit, we get it.
Yeah.
And then these Will Smith version, I like these ones. And David Attenborough, right? The Planet Earth. Like, I like those ones.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and when you get the ones that are like about a very interesting topic, but the person just
and then there's
just
that.
demolishes it, like Charlie Brown teacher. Wah, wah,
Yeah.
wah, wah. How do you make something so
Why
cool,
are they mostly
so
British?
boring? I don't know.
There's a whole ton of awesome documentaries, like with great info, but the host, dude, hire somebody.
For sure.
I get it. It's your work. You want to show it off. You're not a host.
Yeah.
You made like the Battle of Britain boring.
Right.
You just, I don't know how you do that. Like, you did it though. I just, so like, I
dried it right up.
I want the info and I want to see the clips. I don't want to watch you talk about it though.
Yeah.
So I need you to go. But hire someone like Will Smith.
Right?
Or
He doesn't make a bad move.
He's anyway. I've liked, listen, hey, I'm gonna want this to be on record in case I ever meet him.
Sure.
I'm not a flash in the pan fan.
Yep.
I've been a fan of his since before Fresh Prince.
Of course.
Of Bel Air.
Yep.
I've been a fan of his since parents just don't understand.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. But I'm serious. I used to drive around in high school in my beat up Dodge Ram pickup truck with a CD player. I jammed into the dash.
Yeah.
With a pack of cigarettes to to really just fill up that last little gap because the CD player is way too small.
Of course.
For an 85 Dodge Ram radio spot, right?
Yeah.
And I took a Sony speaker and I stuck it into where the speaker should be because back then they came with AM radios,
Right.
Yeah.
and one speaker to hear the news on. That
Right.
was it. That's what a pickup truck business.
That's all you
it's not
needed.
for fun. Anyway,
That's right.
and I would roll around with all his albums to that point. There was like 3, I think. And girls, I had girls that were friends, not girlfriends, but because I was in the drama. I was in the improvisational comedy and stuff.
Right.
And I remember this one girl, Carrie, who, actually really liked me, but I didn't find that out till after high school. She'd get in and laugh at me. She'd be like, we can't all be driving around in cut off jean shorts and sandals listening to the Fresh Prince and a No Fear t-shirt listening to Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. And I'm like, well, I'm a white boy from the suburbs, so I can do whatever I want.
That's right.
So I want Will Smith. It's on record, sir. I was a fan before when nobody knew who the DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince were.
Yeah.
I've been on the Will Smith train from the beginning.
Yep.
And maybe one day he'll high five me and we can take a selfie.
There you go.
What's up?
Perfect.
Anyone out there, Jody Mitic Podcast fans that knows Will Smith, can you just pass him my digits?
Sure.
Yeah.
Slide over.
Why not?
Yep.
Why not?
Oh, I think I hear your phone ringing.
What? What is that? Oh, Mr. Smith.
Sir, William? William, is that you?
Even back in high school, I was like, I want to have a beer with him.
Yeah.
When I drank beer before I knew I hated it. But anyway, why don't we call her there?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're at 53 minutes. This is Jody Mitic Podcast, episode 41. 41, bro.
41.
41, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you, Kelly and I did a little Jody Mitic Podcast marathon in the car yesterday?
You started to mention right before we fired up.
Yeah. So I'm going back to San Diego to see Mr. Jocko and Mr. Echo Charles.
Yeah. Excellent.
Fun fact, Jody Mitic Podcast, episode 1.
Yeah.
We debated whether or not Echo Charles was really Echo Charles's name.
Right.
And guess what?
It's his
name. I thought he was called Echo because Alpha Bravo Charlie Echo.
Yeah.
And Charles is Charlie. So I thought Charles was just like Jocko's way of calling him by the what's the name of that alphabet? Anyway, I forget the name of that alphabet with the words. It's called the alphabet. Let's just call it that. Anyway, so I don't know if it was my first trip down there though that I asked him. I think I was. Were you with me?
I was with you when you asked him.
So when I saw him last year when I was there, I asked him no.
Well, you talked about it when I was there.
Okay, yeah. I found out the first trip, but I don't know if we talked about it again. I got to listen to more of our original episodes.
Right.
Have you listened to some of those oldies?
I have not gone back and heard
They're
them.
pretty good.
Yeah?
We are pretty good, dude.
I'll have to dip back in and see what's going on.
To think the podcast wagon wasn't even a thought then.
Right, yeah.
We did it in the car
That's
outside
right.
Movati.
That's right. It was okay, we've got 30 minutes, go.
And then guess what happened, remember?
Oh, yeah, you missed your plane.
I missed my plane, and the next show it was like, I'm back, but guess what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost fired somebody over that, actually. Remember?
Yes, I do remember. Yeah.
Anyway, Jesus Christ. Memories. And it's only it was May 2016.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yep. May 21st, 2016, I think it said on
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did shows for a solid year.
Yeah.
Before I shut her down due to life getting in the way.
Yeah, yeah.
You were training for your bodybuilding comp.
Yeah. Wow. If only they could see me now. I've been bulking since then.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
I
bulking.
mean, hey, it's winter, right? I mean,
Oh, buddy, I'm so grossed out by myself. Don't worry, though. It's temporary. Kelley and I will be back on the fitness train soon. Oh, check this out, too. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, babe. Stop me. We have 2 couples that took us up on the beta testing.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, that we do.
So now we got to deliver.
Yeah.
Now we got to get
Uh-oh.
ourselves in some shape.
Well, there's that, too.
But I think
That's why we this beta testing.
Yeah. But the way we look right now, we just wanted to have better before pictures.
Right.
So we did it on
It's all
purpose.
marketing. It's all marketing.
Right? We couldn't
Right?
have like super awesome before pictures because
Yeah.
then there'd be nowhere to get to.
Like, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
Right? You know, you're already at the top of the mountain. Like, now where do you go?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, so actually, in September, we have a big announcement on the Jody Mitic podcast coming that's going to be happening in September. We need you to be part of it. I can't say it yet, but no, it involves guns, podcasting, and trips.
And awesome.
It's going to be pretty good. It's going to be really good for us and for the firearms community in Canada and for the Jody Mitic podcast fans who will get a chance. I will drop this teaser. We're doing a live podcast.
There you go.
Yeah.
Teased.
So tickets will go on sale probably in August. I know it's a long way away, but the tickets for that, we'll talk. Won't be in the same venue. I've changed my mind on the format.
All right.
We might do 2 live podcasts.
Beauty.
We'll see. But if you can make it, awesome. If not, we'll figure it out. But
I think that you need to be there, Luke.
I think the podcast wagon
Yes.
itself would benefit from being there at this event that we will announce
I think I do need to be there.
Yeah.
shortly. Dude,
I think
we'll
it's a
talk
great
off air,
opportunity.
but
Yeah.
when you know how you said we were going to talk business after the show?
Yeah.
Let's wrap up the show, talk a little business, and see what you think.
Let's do it.
All right, folks. Like I was saying, this is the Jody Mitic Podcast, episode 41. We love you. You love us. Kelley is now going to be permanent on the show. I know it's called the Jody Mitic Podcast, but hey, I mean,
And we're
I
a
couldn't-
team.
We're the team. We're Team Mitic. We're at Fire Team Alpha. You want to follow Kelley? It's KE.LLEY15 on Instagram. Luke is
Luke D. Rowan.
Luke the Duke Rowan. Luke D. Rowan on Instagram. I'm Jody Mitic, JodyMitic. Of course, follow the podcast, the Jody Mitic Podcast. If you download, go to the iTunes, leave us a review. We're at 4.9, I think, or 4.5
Right.
out of 5.
Okay.
We do pretty good in the reviews.
Sure.
So we could
That's
use a
good.
little bit more so we
Yeah.
can get more sponsorship and we can like keep the lights on around here a little bit. Daddy and mommy need to pay for kids to go to school.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it. And the store on the website, www.thejodymiticpodcast.com, we will have a store with some fresh teas in about 6 weeks.
Say it's probably reasonable.
Yeah.
Reasonable 6 weeks. And if anybody out there has any ideas about whatever swag you might want to see, we have one more item where we can put in there. So we're thinking iPhone or smartphone cases or coffee mugs.
Yeah,
Coffee mugs.
I mean, I want a coffee mug, but we'll go by the consensus of the consumer.
for sure. Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Let Luke know. And again, thanks so much, you guys. My sobriety, my recovery, my fitness, my health, my spirituality. Kelley's health, spirituality, fitness. We all... Luke is already a fine specimen. We need to be accountable to someone, and Kelley and I are accountable to you guys and our kids, and you guys keep us accountable, and you also keep us looking to be better people every day.
Yeah.
Right? Because we know that you are fans and supporters, and we look up to you and you look up to us. So we're here to make a better world at the end of the day because we are the good guys, and we are out.